For 20 long years. I smoked lots of reefer and drank lots of beer. Every day at 420, we're going to settle the score. And for 20 long years, it's been 20 past 4.
Welcome to 420 Live. I'm Jeff Kravitz, the Hump Day edition. Welcome to Wednesday. We are excited today to get into our favorite subject, a little bit of cannabis. Cannabis. I have some right here. Even from our guests, sent me some beautiful product, Mendocino Grasslands. It's delicious ice cream cake. Everything is called something else. I don't feel like I'm eating ice cream cake, but it's delicious. It's tasty. I love it. I love ice cream cake too, but I don't even know. All these strain names are so bizarre, like where they're all coming from, the cakes, the pies, everything is related to something else. But 40%, over 40% of the United States, I read this, let me get it right, has legal access to cannabis, which is absolutely incredible. 40% of the adults that are smoking age have access to cannabis. And speaking of that, they did a study on how much cannabis in the California system was getting into the hands of the little kids, because everybody was worried about little kids getting access to it. 0. Little kids are not getting their hands on the cannabis unless they're stealing their parents' stash. So, as you know, we come to you Monday to Friday, 4:20 p.m. Pacific time, talking to some of our favorite people in the world. Yesterday, an incredible interview with Clem Burke. Clem Burke, one of the founding members of Blondie, an incredible drummer and just so knowledgeable about music and the whole scene. And just an honor to be able to talk to somebody that has that many stories, because you just let Clem go and he's just like a walking encyclopedia. Reminded me a lot of Stuart Copeland. Drummers are they have great personalities. Drummers, I don't know what it is about those guys, but I always consider them the craziest members of the band, but also the most fun, because they definitely know how to have a good time, and they definitely got a lot of energy to get out. It's great talking to Clem. We're getting vaccinated. It's another thing I read, 40% of the adults were vaccinated in the United States. So it's happening. It's all happening. We're going to get back to it. My phone's ringing off the hook with offers to come back. Kravitz, put down the microphone. Get on the other side of the camera. It's time. Bring it out. Tomorrow I'm doing my first gig with my friends from Live X Live. I'll be shooting Jeffrey Ross, our friend Jeffrey Ross, who's been on the show. He's doing another award, another little gimmick thing. I don't even know if I can talk about it. So I'm just going to stop right there, because I don't want to get into any trouble before I even show up at work tomorrow. And again, we're going to Atlanta next week for the Triller fight, or so I believe. I'm waiting to dry the ink on that deal, but it looks really good. I'm really excited. That lineup's absolutely incredible. Instagram Fight Club, I'm calling that. Jake Paul is fighting on April 17th in Atlanta. And, other things are going on. So it's like my summer. Usually I have a full summer of things going on. And this weekend's Bonnaroo, and this weekend's Jazz Fest, and this weekend's this. It's always like MTV Movie Awards or whatever it is. It comes into my life that I've been covering year after year after year after year in the same weekend, and it was incredibly disruptive last year when there was absolutely nothing to do. And what's really cool this year is we're getting all kinds of events coming in that that are brand new. People are trying different things now and everybody has a different level of comfort and getting out there again and getting at it. And I'm ready. I'm vaccinated. I'm ready to go. I couldn't be readier. I'm not sure about my gear. I actually have to go check out my camera gear and see. It seems to be a little bit rusty when I took it down to St. John to shoot Shred is Dead. But I'm rare and ready to go. If you need a photographer, I shoot weddings, bar mitzvahs, circumcisions, because the tips are really good, and anything else I could find to put my camera on. So Jeff Kravitz, photographer available. And if you need me to do your webcast, I'm happy to help that too. I'm just plugging the hell out of myself today. Anyway, to get into our guests, we're excited. My friend Adam Donahue hit me up a couple weeks ago, maybe a month ago, when I was back before I went to Mexico, I think, and was like, Kravitz, I got this new brand. It's called Mendocino Grasslands, and I want to send you some. And you know what? I never turned down a gift horse in the mouth. And I put a little bit of this in pipe the other night. one hit, and all of a sudden I was hearing the whole house with, "What the hell are you smoking in there?" So, Ian, my question to you is, what the hell are you growing up there?
Only the goods, Jeff. I'm glad you got your hands on that. I don't know. I didn't get to see what that was in that bag. It was
This is fatso.
Yeah, it's loud. It's really loud. That's a legend OG GMO. So yeah, that's a nice strain.
So, welcome to the show. Thank you for coming on. How long have you been growing cannabis?
I started my first adventures in cannabis, I think in 1996 is actually when I started. I graduated high school in 92 and went into the military for 4 years. And as soon as I got out, it was right around early September. And a friend of my father's up north of where I live was like, "Hey, you got a strong back. You're eager to go to work. You want to jump on a farm for a bit and help me with navigating harvest and getting stuff in." So that was literally right out of the Marine Corps, right into the field. And
had you had any farming experience before that?
You know, I've been around it. I've born and raised in Mendocino County my whole life. So it's always been a part of our culture. It's during that time growing up, it was a little bit more, on the low. It wasn't nearly as talked about or nearly even out in the open. And that first grow I went to was completely covered and hidden in the manzanita bushes and, out of sight. And a lot of work to even bring that crop in that year. And slowly over the years since then, we've evolved and pushed a little bit out of the darkness and into the light. And, legalization has just been a huge, huge blessing, especially for those of us that I'm passionate about it, man. I enjoy the plant. I love the plant for what it does for people and for myself. And I want to continue to grow it as long as I can.
Well, 96 would be right after they legalized for medical usage, right?
Exactly. That's exactly it.
Business was kind of booming because all of a sudden you had all these shops and there weren't really a lot of laws in California to dictate what a shop was.
Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah. They were trying to get a hold on regulation and what that looked like and how do they regulate shops. And at that time I was young and naive to even any of that stuff going on. Everything that we were doing at that time was still kind of the back to the landers that were living up in the hills and chose to kind of live off grid and, have a farm life. And a lot of kids were homeschooled in these areas, but yeah, it's completely evolved since those times. 100%.
Yeah, I mean, back then you had problems. Camp in the mid 90s, or was that earlier or later than that?
Oh yeah, no. Camp was, this is like their training grounds, stomping grounds for camp. So they bring in people from all over the state during those heights and basically have their training here. So yeah, there's some PTSD for helicopters, that's for sure. Still, I'll be in the crop looking up, and helicopters fly over, and it might be CDF or Reach or one of the medical helicopters. But still, the first thing you do, you're looking up, going up. But it's it definitely had an impact. I'll say that.
And the temperatures cooled down a lot up there, I would assume.
100%. We're actually trying to, regulations and people, the enforcement that are coming to see us now, they're coming in with khakis and a clipboard, and they're looking for, you're talking about, fish and game, and you're talking about environmental impact reports and things like that, and just doing stuff right. We're at probably the heaviest regulated industry for agriculture that I believe in the state. I don't think anybody else is regulated the way that we are. And I mean, dotting the I's and crossing the T's, and you really can't, if you're going on the legal end of things, you can't get away with much. And for me, I've always wanted to do it organically and sun grown. So it's important to me to preserve the land. I'm from here, and the last thing I want to do is trash the land.
So just for sun grown, what happens in the months? Are you doing light depth for the months in the winter months and stuff like that, and adding?
Yeah, I am. So I own a ranch called Yokeo Ranch, where the brand Mendocino Grasslands kind of thrives at, and we have multiple parcels. So in Mendocino County, we're allowed 10,000 square feet of cultivation, which isn't much. It's a quarter acre. But I have 2 of those permits, and I have a couple of nursery permits as well. So with all of that total cultivation on site, it's about 1.5 acres of canopy at any given time. And with that, there's about 24 hoop houses. So right now, what we planted, actually we had a plant day today, and we put about 1,800 little babies into their homes. And that was in 1 gallon pots, transplanted them all, got them dug in, got them watered in, and they're happy and thriving. And yeah, they're in a light depth situation. So we'll veg those out for the next 3 weeks and then start, manipulating the light with black tarps and cranking those down and getting them into bud, and hopefully have a harvest here by around July 1 to July 4th is what we're shooting for our first harvest to come in.
So it's about 3 months between when you plant and when you pull.
Yeah, it depends, and some people do it a little quicker. I like to give the plants a little bit of time to get their legs and their roots in the ground and grow up, and to be about a 2 foot tall, 2 foot wide style plant. I grow in raised beds right now for all the light depth stuff, and then the rest of everything that I grow in native soil. Like all my nursery stuff's in native soil, so I use a conventional tractor to double spade the field and add amendments, and then grow directly into Mendocino County dirt.
And then when you pull in July, you can put another batch in, right? You put
babies in. That's where the nursery comes into play. So we have a backup nursery, and we're constantly feeding that with the next genetics and things that are to come, and cutting clones. And so, somewhere in May, prior to flipping those and getting them to flower, we're cutting clones off of those and bringing them over to the nursery, and then raising those up from a little tiny cutting up into a plant. And as soon as we harvest, usually within 5 days, we are harvested and replanted, re-amended, replanted, and back on again. And then at that point, we just let them ride from there, because you're already in July, and the timing of it's all perfect. So
right, because the sun at the July would be at the highest point when we start going back the other direction, right?
Exactly. 21st, June 21st, summer solstice. So it's still, we're going through it. The hours are perfect, and by the time October comes, you're cutting down a crop again.
So how much herb are you pulling out of that amount of space?
Man, we tend to do pretty well at our facility. We've kind of, over the past 5 years, we've really kind of honed it in, and we're averaging somewhere around, I don't know, about 75 to 80 pounds of hoop house. So, and I have 24 of them, and you turn those twice. So we'll just go, 1632. We're somewhere around that 32 to 3,800 pounds.
Wow, that's absolutely incredible. So, when did you decide to go out of the legacy market, as they call it, and into the legal market?
Funny, yeah. I had to go. I had a little hiccup back in 08, 09, and spent some time at summer camp. So I'll call it summer camp,
which is the federal pen.
Federal pen. Yeah, I went into the feds. I got hit on a transportation and distribution charge, and as it happens. It happens.
Oh, for sure.
Happened, and I came back out in 14 and did all of my probation, and just kind of set it all up. And I was neighbors with a woman who had a ranch that she was running the 99 plant program, which at one point we had a zip tie program in the county that allowed you to do 99 plants. And she just, she was like, I don't know what's going on. I have these, 2 99 plant permits, and my total yield for the year was somewhere around 350 pounds. Does that seem right? I'm thinking, okay, 200 plants, 350 pounds. Was it full term? She's like, oh yeah, we planted them in June and harvested them in October. I'm like, for me, I'm thinking a plant should be at least 4 to 5 pounds a plant. So you should have at least 800, 900 pounds. Something's going wrong there. So I went in and did a little consulting for her and talked about, what you could do and change out of into hoop houses. And she took my offer, and I started work for her the next year. And then within about 3 years, I ended up buying the entire ranch from her, which is 144 acres, like right in the heart of Mendocino County. We do weddings and events and hold all sorts of different conferences and things like that. But
was there a problem as a felon getting into the legal business?
In the beginning, I really danced. It was a ginger dance, but I had done everything that I needed to do to get off of what they call paper. And I actually can get my gun rights back and everything else like that. So right now, in the very beginning, I was very nervous about it. Coming right out, being incarcerated for 3.5 years, locked up for the plant. and then coming right back in, and couple years being out to go right back into cultivation is like, I couldn't stay away from it. It was like, a moth to the light. That's just my passion. I was like, okay, I got to get back into it somehow. So I started it. Okay, I can do a consulting company. And then that turned into, cultivation again, and showing people, just basically showing them the ropes and then taking it over.
And at what point did you go legal? What as soon as you bought that?
Yeah. We started putting stuff down in, and it was, they didn't have everything quite set in place when we had started, and the county was moving on the legal side of things. So, there's county regulations, there's state regulations, but it's pretty hammered out now. And we're on a good path. I think we're in a position now where everything that's coming out of those hoop houses and everything that we're creating can actually go into our brand that we developed, and had, Adam Donahue and his team help develop this beautiful brand for us. And that's something that I was super passionate about. And I'm going to keep growing cannabis instead of just doing something on a bulk level. I'm prideful about it. And I just wanted to share with others just a little taste of what comes from our ranch. So,
great flavor. What's the main difference between legacy, black market, and legal these days?
Well, I think for one, I'm going to say regulations as far as one. I mean, if you're at a black market level, nobody's checking in on you. You're not being inspected on a county level. You're not being inspected on a state level. You're not asking those people to come see you. I mean, I have alarm systems in place now at my facility that automatically call the sheriff, which back in the day I would have never called the sheriff to come help me out.
Right.
So now it's just part of the protocol, is where, you're a legal entity, and I need to protect my space, protect my employees, and protect the team that I have there. And if there's anything fishy going on and the alarms go off, or if someone's at the gate, it's interesting because it's just all welcome arms. I mean, we're very transparent there on the farm about what we do. And I mean, we do farm tours and bring people in, and it's a whole different world. It really truly is. Sometimes I pinch myself and go, damn, we're really legal. We're really doing
it. Yeah, because you were hiding in the woods for all those years, and now all of a sudden you're transparent.
Forever. I mean, I have a license to transport thing. I can be on the road legally driving. The same thing that I got incarcerated for, I'm legally able to drive plants around and be, have my paperwork to do so within those regulations. And it's amazing. It's really come full circle. And I'm just, I wouldn't do it any other way. I understand, I saw the other side of that coin. And if there's an opportunity, if they're going to give you an opportunity to do it on the legal side, why not provide clean, quality, organic cannabis to people out there, and push my product to people in a way where I know that I don't ever have to be, my family's never jeopardized again. I don't want to leave my little kids behind and be incarcerated again. That was no fun.
No, of course. And now you're on the other side. Is it as profitable? Because one of the things I'm hearing about is that with all the regulations and all the hoops you got to go through, that it's a lot more expensive to grow legal weed than it is black market.
It is expensive, but it's growing pains, and we're figuring out. I think that the state tax. I think they tax us $154 on every single pound that we grow. One of the heaviest tax. I mean, can you imagine if grapes got taxed like that? I don't know, but
$154 a pound.
Yeah. But I mean, obviously, their ton price is the same, close to kind of what our pound price is. So it all washes out. But when we go down the road on break even marks and things like that, I think the prices are still pretty competitive, and there's a decent margin still. I mean, people that are telling you that they can't do it probably aren't doing it efficiently or effectively. You know what I mean? And maybe back to the old realm of using store-bought liquid fertilizers, when it's just at this level, it kind of becomes more of an ag entity, and you're able to scale, and everything within scale. If you're buying your stuff still at the local grocery store and paying $150, $160 for a 5-gallon jug of something, you're obviously not going to be making, as much money. And there's money in it. You can do it. And we were able to launch this brand on a shoestring budget with a little tiny farm. And I feel great about it. It's working is what I'm saying. We're able to employ people at a high level. think we have 14 employees now, and that are all on the books, and it's working.
It's beautiful. It's a beautiful strain. So before you created the Mendocino Grasslands, how are you distributing?
So we would grow in bulk, and we would have bigger companies come in. There was people like Leaf Labs, which is a local entity up in Willits, Henry's Original, people like Flocana, and a few other bigger names. There was Cannabis down in Santa Rosa. They're all bigger entities within the players, kind of local to us. And we would go in and we would process all of it, dry it, process it, and get it ready. And we would sell it basically in bulk. So when they would need 100, 200 pounds for their jars or for their bags or for their line, they would come to us and we would offer it up and, negotiate prices and terms and everything else and get into contract and sell it in bulk.
And how's the price per pound?
Bulk prices right now, I mean, they vary. You can get, depending on quality and what it is, but you're seeing anything from a $700 pound going all the way up to $1,250 for a nice pound of depth, and willing to pay. But if you're another brand and you're trying to put that into your jars and be competitive, your threshold somewhere around that $850, $900 price. I mean, it's really hard for another brand to purchase. So that's why it's so important to be vertically integrated. And in our farm, like being able to grow our own stuff right there on the premises, dry it there, have full control of it, and then get it off into packaging, and then off to distribution. You have a lot more control there, and it's been a ride, but it's been an amazing ride at that.
But was it a lot more expensive back before when you were doing when it was full black market back in the early 2000s?
I wouldn't say I don't know if I'd say more expensive. I think that those early 2000s, you're still fetching a giant price. Those margins were huge, to grow we could break down price cost per pound to grow a pound. I know that there's people that are down into the, minus staff and anything. We're just talking about dirt and amendments and everything. I mean, I think you can get price per pound down to under $50 a pound grow. So, I mean, if you're turning it for $450, $500, you're still making a profit there.
Right.
And back in the day, if you black market, you're most likely on a piece of property that was bought in the 70s for probably a very cheap price, lots of land. I mean, back in the day, land was cheap. Water was plentiful and available. And I mean, like if you're selling a $3,000, $4,000 pound, you're growing 100 of them, $400K on the black market, you have a very small staff. I mean, it takes a lot to generate $400K on the legal market now.
Right. And the taxing on the consumer level is kind of what's keeping the legacy market in California active.
100%, man. 100. Yeah. And it's, that's one thing. The taxation is obviously a difficult thing. You get taxed at many, many levels, and it's all the way to the dispensaries. And they're some of the ones that pay some of the heaviest tax. So, markups there. But I just want to be able to provide clean, healthy, consciously grown, sun-grown cannabis from one of the hottest spots in California, I think, the Emerald Triangle, and just deliver that on a high level to folks and give them something. So every consumer can buy it. If you're the working person, you're going to be able to buy Mendocino Grasslands. If you want that bougie stuff, we're still there, but I want the price point to be affordable for everyone.
Yeah, I think that's important. I think people are definitely on the conscious side when they go into the weed store. The selections going in. We're going to bring in Adam because I really want to get into the marketing and how you got out of the white label. Adam Donahue, come on in. How are you?
Yeah, pretty good. How's it going, Jeff?
Great. Nice to have you on board. Welcome. Why don't you tell us, Ian, how you discovered Adam and came across him and what the concept was and bringing him on board?
Oh, man. So, Adam – Adam was good friends with my brother-in-law. Nate married my sister Rachel, and I met Adam for the first time at Yokeo Ranch at their wedding. That was an epic weekend, amazing weekend, and I really didn't know the background of Adam, his skill set. Him and his wife are just powerhouses, and they kill it on so many levels. And years later, here we are still developing Yokeo Ranch and the thought of Mendocino Grasslands. And I really wanted to get into having my own brand. And, Nate was just like, this is Adam's wheelhouse. This is what he does. He could probably lead you in the right direction and help you. And I'm like, oh, shit, he's all the way, on the other side of the fucking, the States. He's all the way in Vermont. What do you mean? Oh no, he'll fly out. He can do it. Everything, he's the man. You want him on board. So he came out and we sat for 4 or 5 days and sipped tequila and went over, plans and thoughts, and just, he got a feeling for me and I got a feeling for him. And we left just all smiles and excited about the future. And, since then we haven't looked back. It's been about, what do you think, Adam? It's been about 1.5 years now.
Yeah, it's coming up on 2 years.
Coming up on 2 years now, yeah. And from that, I still have the first look books that he presented to me, and it's so impressive to see what we first put out almost 2 years ago and how it resonates, and it's very similar to what we've created and what you have in those, what you're smoking on now, and what that packaging looks like. And I just wanted it to be clean, and I wanted it to be simple, and I wanted it to be timeless. And I didn't want it to be fussy. I didn't want neon colors and some other stuff. I wanted it to really feel mature in a way, but still be able to hit on many levels. So
yeah, I mean, when you look at here's the packaging. It's very earthy, crunchy greens, like earthy, like that's forest green, right?
Too here.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's beautiful. The box.
Yeah, the box.
And the wood, the nice wood grain. Adam, how did you come into this? Was marketing your thing?
Yeah, exactly. So business, and I've always been my first job was with a clothing company in the late 90s, and that's how I got started, and had an opportunity in Philly, our hometown. And I've always dabbled in design, web design, and then started maybe 5 years ago, just really formalizing it and focusing on building out brands. Hemp was becoming very prominent and legal, especially in the Northeast, cannabis in Colorado. So I started working with brands, and as Ian alluded to, he had there were several opportunities on the table at that point in time. And the first one was Yokeo Ranch. So we had poked around at his ranch and rebranded that, and then he wanted to bring this brand to retail. And like he said, we sat down and we had all sorts of ideas, and I listened, and that's what I do best. And it's very hard to listen and make someone's ideas come to fruition. And that's always the challenge with building brands. So I've learned through my years of how to do that. And that's exactly what we did together.
He's really fucking good at it. He's really, really good at it. He's just spot on. It's just crazy. I can just throw some stuff out at him, colorways or words or whatever it may be. And he's like, I see it. I can get it. And he'll send back ideas, and we just flip flop back and forth. And it's just really nice to have somebody that understands it and sees it. And it feels good. I mean, again, I can grow it, but all the other aspects of jumping into that legal market without the team and the whole crew behind it, I just have an idea and some land and the ability to grow, but without being able to get it into a box and have all the suppliers and the paper and the print and the font and everything that he does and all the little tiny touches, it's above my pay grade. That's for sure.
Well, yeah, now you're in the glass jar business.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. I think we got into didn't we get into the tree hugger? So we're in recycled glass jar business.
That's right. Yeah. We have a couple different, like what he was showing you in the fancy box. Ian is visionist. He's a farmer, but he's one of the most creative humans I know. And he had this vision for a box with a nice, very elegant and classy, but it must have the suction like an Apple box and the magnet. So we created that. And we're going to be using that for limited drops. It's a super rad box. Jeff, you have a copy of one of those. But yeah, we're using more sustainable for more of our volume glass products. We're trying to be more conscious of the footprint and using a company called Tree Hugger with sauna packaging lids, which are like upcycled replastics and, in glass and so forth. So it's super eco-friendly and it's just more responsible. And yeah, so that's what all of our jars. By the way, the jars are all Mountain Eighths, so that's a little bit of a differentiator between a lot of the brands out there. Is we put 4.2 grams of flower in those jars for the same price as an eighth. So that's also a little just paying homage to 420 and, you know, a little clever.
Also just giving back, right? You're supporting us. We want to support you. Here's an extra joint on the house to you.
Yeah.
You know, so and a quality joint at that.
Well, you know, when you used to go to the shops back in the days before it became legal, when they were medical, they'd give you all kinds of free shit.
Yeah.
Now you go into shops, they don't give you anything.
And yeah, the leftovers, the whole nine.
Right. And I went into MedMen last week, and I hadn't been in there since the very beginning. And I was blown away by the amount of products, the different companies, the different packaging, the different logos. There were thousands of pre-rolls there. I mean, absolutely impossible to pick. You're like, oh, I want to find a joint. I mean, I didn't even know where to start. You know, I was like, oh, here's a joint of Chem Dog. I'll take that. It was like, I just didn't. It was just, it's so overwhelming now. Do you find that the marketplace is getting full? Or can you find a place for your brand out there?
Yeah, it's definitely a very saturated market and it's very competitive. It's very challenging to get into dispensaries. If the price isn't right and the product and the quality is not there, there's 5 other sales reps behind you. So we have 7 sales reps. We partnered with a distribution company out of Santa Rosa called Cosmic Distribution. The guys are great. So I have 7 sales reps that manage all the different counties throughout the state of California. And that's their goal, is to go in there and obviously try to sell our brand. And yeah, we get very strategic about what shops, because each shop has their own little niche and target demographic that you're selling into. So it's a different strategy for each county, let alone each shop within a county.
So where are you? What shops are you in?
Yeah, we covered the map of California now. We've only been in retail for 2 months, I think. So it's a fresh baby out in the wild, which is very exciting. But from San Diego all the way up to Humboldt, the most recent is a delivery company out of Humboldt called the Flower Company, and they service a huge area up there, and they have a very interesting model. Also recently we got into 5 cookies locations, so predominantly outside of LA and San Francisco area, and a few other shops, Long Beach, Orange County.
Cookies is a huge statewide company, right? Are they in Colorado also?
Yeah, they're now nationwide. They'll open up doors wherever legal. They'll be in New York next month, or whenever that turns. So,
and I think that's the whole thing. A couple of different things. What's wonderful about still being small and intimate is that we can adjust our prices to where they need to be to suit for that store. We can talk directly with those sales reps. We're constantly in communication with each other. We're still on that level, in a small little intimate level, to where we can make those decisions. There's not any bottleneck on any decision. So if there's someone there and it's on the sales team, they can get right back over to Adam. Adam responses out. But the whole idea is to hopefully get ready for that interstate when California can open up and start providing for the rest of the country on any of those states that are no-grow states, or if they don't have the capability of growing, but they actually can sell. And that's the future. We're looking to legalization all the way across. And as soon as California can be the provider of clean cannabis to other states, we're branding Mendocino County. We're trying to be, viable in that marketplace. So yes, California saturation, 100%. But you open it up state, nation, open those floodgates out of California, get into the other states, it becomes viable again.
But I mean, you have a limited supply. You can grow. How many places can you put it? I mean, how many states can you end up servicing, you think?
Well, I mean, I guess, Adam, that's a number cruncher item. Right now we're in the midst of Mendocino County of trying to have the board of supervisors and the powers that be understand that, you know, cannabis is an agriculture entity now. If you're going to tax it, you're going to create. We're looked at as agriculture, so we're held to 10,000 square feet. That's a quarter acre. I have a 144 acre farm.
Oh my God! And you're held to a quarter of an acre.
And I can only do a quarter of an acre, but I have 2 licenses, so now I can do a half acre, 1/2 of 1 acre of the 144 that I own.
Oh, so you're more than ready to scale up when they open up the floodgates.
Yeah, but the county itself has to allow me to do that. So right now we're just even trying to go for a 10% rule. So at 10% of my property, it would be 14 acres. 14 acres is a behemoth in the cannabis, and way bigger than anything that I've ever seen or grown. It's a huge amount, especially for just a brand. So I think we're in a good position. So yes, if we do open up and it goes, you know, outside of just California and we go to a 10%, I think I can feasibly go about 5 acres before my kind of water situation comes into play, and kind of setbacks and everything that I have to deal with the regulations for growing and dealing with, you know, laws all the way through. So 5 acres, I think very, very, very max. And that is a shit pile of cannabis. That's so, I mean, it's more than we can put into.
Well, no, it's interesting you talk about the water, because water is a huge deal in California. Like right now, I saw that even though we had a lot of rain and a good snowpack this year, they're already acting like it's a drought.
Oh, so maybe where you're at, we haven't had rain for anything up here. Like it feels like summertime already. I mean, it really, truly, if you're looking around, we are going into a drought. They're already talking about turning people's water, you know, like for ag water off in certain areas within like Redwood Valley, which is just a little subset of where we're at. And I mean, it's real. Like these last couple of years have been pretty tough on rain or on water, you know, and the way that we collect water or get water. I mean, I have every gutter connected to all the buildings that are on that ranch, going to different cisterns that go down to underground tanks that then pump those out to a holding pond, because we can't take from, you know, streams or rivers or anything like that. You're allowed a well water, so punch a well if you got access to a well and into water, and or collect it. But you're not, you know, I can't turn on city water and use it to water the cannabis, and I sure as hell can't pull it from any type of river or stream. Other entities and other agriculture entities have been grandfathered into practices like that, but not us. So, you know, at my max capacity, even though I have 144 acres, my max that I could do water-wise would maybe be 5. And now you're into a drying problem, and it's just infrastructure.
Right, because you need more room to hang them to dry afterwards and package.
Yeah, of course. And then, I mean, 5 acres, you're talking at 1 acre, 4,000 a pound. On 5, that's 20,000 pounds. That's going to be coming down at one time. Processing 20,000 pounds and drying 20,000 pounds, like it, you know, that's a shit show if you tell me. So I want to keep it where our brand, and I want to scale on the ranch, even if we're allowed at that 10%. I'm going to scale, and we can account for some bulk buys and maybe some fresh frozen, some other things, but really to scale our brand as needed and as we go. You know, we have plenty for sure. I mean, even at 2 acres, we can supply our brand heavily.
Yeah,
that's incredible. Adam, you ready to take over the whole country?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, this guy will throw 300 pounds at me, and I'll go and put it into product in a week. So I'm ready.
And it's on. Yeah.
And, you know, we heard Chuck Schumer this week, and he said that they're going to go for trying to pass legal cannabis, even though, according to Kamala Harris, they don't have time in their schedule to do it, is what she said.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, I think it has to happen. We have to have federally legalized cannabis.
It's ridiculous that it's not happened. I mean, as many states that just keep popping up and are just, you know, yeah. It's nuts to me. It's nuts that it's still seen as the drug that it, you know, in most places that the drug that it is. I mean, like, I've got a lot to say on that.
Well, of course. Well, let's face it, California, it's been our biggest cash crop now for the past 3 decades. You know, blowing away wine and oranges and almonds and everything else probably combined. Do you think there's going to be because I was reading about the UK legalizing. Do you think there's going to come a time when we could possibly be shipping California bud to worldwide?
I do believe that. I do believe international will follow national, and it'll international 100%. 100%.
That's going to be.
And why would, it's just time. It's time.
Unbelievable, because they don't have the growing season like we do in England, for sure.
No, there's nothing like it. I mean, and there's a lot of states that you can grow in now that are having issues and problems. I mean, you dust storms in Oklahoma and flash freezes in Utah, and Arizona's got heat indexes that we can't even mess with. Like, where we live and up in Northern California, I mean, Salinas and a few other places down in Monterey, there's a few other places that really do it right. But I mean, like getting up into Mendocino and Southern Humboldt and Trinity counties and that zone, there's a little pocket up here that just is like that perfect segue, that spring into that nice late fall where it's warm and late rains, and like it's perfect climate and perfect weather, perfect soil for cannabis cultivation. So in my mind is like, if we can lead into that and brand Mendocino County again, as Napa did to wine, if we can do that, if we can push that agenda in Mendo, and fishing's kind of gone, timber's gone, we're not logging redwoods and all the stuff of the past, and we're a tiny little town. If we can take advantage of cannabis right now and grab a hold of that and really market Mendo, as world renowned cannabis growing region for organic, sustainable, sun-grown, beautiful cannabis, and provide others for that. Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. We got it.
Well, I think with Virginia, I believe today legalized, New York State legalized. I mean, we're falling one by one, but there's no interstate commerce, intrastate.
Yeah, right. It'll open up. It's going to happen. They have to. They've been talking about any states that are connecting, that are legal, that we can move within those states. So whether or not, I mean, they've been, it's in conversation. It's in their minds for sure.
All right. How about other products, edibles, stuff like that? Is that on the drawing board?
Yeah, I think Adam's always saying one thing at a time. I'm always saying, okay, so many SKUs and packaging, and the amount of work and that goes into just one of the products, and from the print to the paper to the supplier of the little leather and the tack and everything. Like, he goes through so many different just to make one item. So SKUs are, if the next thing we're going into, I like edibles. I'm down with some edibles for sure. I think that's a great play, and I think out there in the marketplace, edibles are they're fire. It's easy. It's I think it's discreet. It's a lot less. There's no smell. You're popping in your mouth. So those, if they're business folks or whether, and we're not talking about even edibles that have to send you or launch you. Just a nice even keel high is fine with me.
Yeah. When we got started, we had just a few SKUs, maybe 3. I think we were going to do the jars, a single pre-roll, and a pre-roll pack, and the launch kept getting pushed. We had some challenges, distribution, COVID jammed up the entire supply chain for me. So we had a lot of challenges. We pushed it back, and like 2 months before we drop, Ian's like, maybe I have this fresh frozen. We could do maybe pen extract and dabs, and maybe we should put some flour in ounce bags and half ounces. I was like, all right, so literally a grind and a push the last two months before drop to produce like 4 SKUs. To his point, there's a lot of work. So it was a grind, but the ounces are a hit and the market's loving them. And it's really cool to see.
Is it hard to get the SKUs?
It's just challenging to come up with the concept for everything and to finalize, everything for your supply chain to get it in, and the timing for the execution.
Yeah, well, I have some of your it's rosin, right?
Yeah, it's live resin. Yeah,
resin.
It comes from a fresh frozen. Which one do you have? Do you have that?
I got the Spry Rock, I think.
Spy Rock, yeah.
Spy Rock, and I have this little handy tool here. where I can just hit it right here while we're sitting. My Insta dabber.
I'm ready to hear
A USB nectar collector.
Oh, it's the fancy stuff there, boy.
You're gonna be high.
Oh, I know. I hit it earlier today. I went right to the couch.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I'm having a nap after lunch today.
How's that fatso doing for you? You smoke some of that?
Yeah, I smoked some of that last night. Actually, it's absolutely delicious. I'm cutting through the bag, and I finally figured out how to open these fucking things. They're such a pain in the ass.
Oh,
but you actually have to grab each side, and then you just pull it open. I didn't realize that. I kept on trying to open it here and open it there because it's really confusing. But
how do you can slide it?
And you slide it. Yeah, you slide it in. I've got it down now how to open the bag and get my weed out, but I was a little bit challenged there in the beginning. I love the product, guys. You've done a great job. I mean, you're using what God gave us. You're using the sun and the earth, and the water to grow, and not all the hydro. I mean, I do love some good hydro, though. Or do you ever think about doing a little indoor? Or?
No, I mean, we do some light supplement in order to extend the veg time. But, indoor, I have dabbled in, obviously, in the past and all the way through the years of growing. But for me, is with the soil that we have and the land that we got, it makes no sense for me to go, and spend money on that. And it's just, I like growing outdoor. I like seeing the plant evolve. And indoor, just, the lights are so intense. You're constantly like,
Well, now they got the LEDs. They're not quite as bad, but it's come a long way. I mean, I love a good indoor, but I understand what you're talking about. Mendocino County, the elevation, the soil, Mother Nature, it's perfect for growing cannabis.
Yeah, I mean, I don't need. I mean, if I was in the city and I didn't have the opportunity to grow outdoor and be in the soil, obviously that's probably the route that I would have to pursue because I wouldn't have any other choice. But if I have the opportunity to grow, this is what I know. This is what I've been into for the last 20 years. So I enjoy this.
Well, Mendo's making a huge push. We had our friends from Lantern Farms on the show, Billy, and he was incredible. And, he's the same way. Only wants to grow outdoors, only wants the sun, only wants the soil. And I get it. I totally get it. It's completely different than anything else you're going to smoke because of the flavor and what comes off of it. It's just very unique. And it's a beautiful thing about Northern California is that we have Trinity County there that's been giving us smoke, for the past 4 decades? Since the 70s, right?
Yeah, you got Mendocino, Trinity, and Humboldt creating that Emerald Triangle there, and we're within that. We're within that triangle, and it's just this. It's just a little region that's a perfect pocket for it.
Adam, what are you excited about coming up?
I'm excited about the upcoming harvest, July and in the fall harvest.
Oh yeah, because this will be the first time you've had your own fresh batch. Because
right. Yeah, exactly. So we've been brainstorming and curating a nice collection of new strains to kind of put out there on the market. So we're really excited about that. And just, to be a little bit of a geek, just we have more data now from like a business perspective in terms of the market demand and what we need to put into certain SKUs versus others. So it's been a learning experience for us all. And every day we continue to learn as an industry, not just Grasslands and our brand. So I'm just really excited to keep learning and working with our close team that we have, as Ian alluded to earlier. It's great. We have all the right skill sets now in place to really make a successful brand.
And when is Vermont legal yet?
Yeah, I mean, Vermont's legal. I can grow a couple ganj plants out back of my house, but it's not rec legal. So the only thing we're allowed to do is grow three adult plants at home.
Oh, so there's no commerce or shops or anything like that.
Just medical.
You got to go. You got to go to what, Massachusetts for that?
Yeah, you can go to Mass. You can go to Maine. Maine's got some caregiver, aka rec shops. But yes, correctly.
And most of the stuff coming out of that area, out of Massachusetts, that's all indoor, correct? Or is they
all indoor? Is out of Massachusetts, but high grade. There's cats that I know that I've helped build brands for in the Northeast that absolutely crush it. Out of Maine, a buddy of mine, Dialed In Farms, Josh. He's one of the best growers I know, and he grows some of the highest grade indoor.
How about
So,
upstate New York? Are they doing an outdoor biz?
yeah, they seems like there are a bunch of hemp growers in upstate New York. So a lot of hemp is being grown up there. But there's a better climate there. It's the Beast Coast. You know, you have a lot of humidity. It's really hard, even though Ian was mentioning, you know, even when this does go national, it's challenging for other states to have that climate that you need for really good high grade sun grown. And that's what California, specifically the Emerald Triangle counties, have that like New York, to answer your question, does not have.
Right.
There's
But they do grow wine up in upstate New York.
Oh yeah. The Finger Lakes, it's classic.
So, I mean, we're going to get it from everywhere. I'm really looking forward to federal legalization. I mean, all my weed stocks I've invested in, that's what everybody's waiting for.
Yeah, waiting for them to pop, huh?
And also reclassification out of Schedule 1.
Come on. You know how many people are incarcerated still? That's the worst. When you
The last Prisoner Project, we had our buddy Andrew on, who you guys are really friendly with on the show.
I mean, you could touch on that really quick and just think about how many people are still incarcerated right now for nonviolent cannabis crimes.
They say about 40,000 people right now are incarcerated because of cannabis, nonviolent cannabis. That's
fucking nuts. That's nuts. Why we sit here and we can make money, we can sell it, we can go. I mean, come on, that's nuts. They need to start thinking about that. That's a difficult pill to swallow. It's you know why bigger corporations, those same entities, and you know prisons are privatized, and it's interesting, man. I don't know why in every single state that has cannabis, if it's a nonviolent cannabis crime, why are they not released? I mean, they have to continue to fulfill their
well, they're privatized. That's why.
Yeah.
They privatize the prisons and they have to keep them full. They have an occupancy thing, right?
Yeah.
So they want to keep the bodies in there. And cannabis was an easy way to lock everybody up on the street.
Yeah. Simple.
But, you know, as we're sitting here talking, this industry has grown leaps and bounds from where it was even a year ago, even 2 years ago. It's amazing what's changing. And you guys have a lot of balls to go in there and jump in with your own brand. But congratulations. It's very tasty. People have been chirping in about how much they love the brand and how fire it is. And if you see that logo, pick it up in your shops in California. I had to write here. That was one of the problems when I ripped it off. I ripped off the name of the strain. And I was like, oh, wait, I have to write it on the bag so I don't forget.
Yeah, you can blame that one on
OG
me.
and GMO. I even wrote like the cross so I knew what the hell I was dealing with. Anything you want us to add? I'm going to cut you loose first. Anything you want to say before I let you go?
Well, I'd like to thank you for supporting our brand and giving us the time and opportunity to hear Ian's story and my contribution. Give us a follow at Mendocino Grasslands on Instagram, and it's MendocinoGrasslands.com. Yep. Thanks there, Jeff.
No problem. That'll help.
That's it.
Yeah, and that's the IG underneath there, Mendocino Grasslands.
Perfect.
Thank you, Adam. Thanks for tuning in today. I appreciate you having you on, and say hi to your beautiful wife, Dana, one of my favorite people in the world, and the kids.
Yeah.
Did you have a birthday? Wait, did you have a birthday at your house?
Don't put me on the spot now. I forgot my oldest's age. Like last week, Dana looks at me on the beach like she wanted to give me a Philly backhand. But yeah, Leon's 9 years old, and Sonny, he's coming up on 5. So
wow. You definitely need a lot of Mendocino Grasslands over there.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah.
All right, love to the family.
All right, thanks.
Thanks, Adam. Ian, my man, really amazing job you've done out there. Proud of you guys for what you've done and getting out there and going from a white labeling business into the jar business. It's not so bad, right?
No, not at all, man. Yeah, super, super pumped to be in the position that we're at. I feel blessed for the land and the team and the opportunity to do so in the community that we have. So I couldn't be happier right now going into 2021. It feels good.
Well, welcome Mendocino Grasslands to the table. The product, this is delicious.
Yeah, it is.
Wow. And the pens too. I mean, the flavor in the pens is great.
Yeah, the boys up at the Leaf Labs in Willits, they do an amazing job. They did the extract on that. So we grew it, they extracted it, and it came out amazing.
All right, well, we'll be keeping our eye on Mendocino Grasslands and keep up the good work. And there it is one more time, MendocinoGrasslands.com. And that's their Instagram. Thank you, Ian, for coming on the show today.
Thank you, Jeff. I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much.
Our love to everybody up there in Mendocino. We're going to come up and visit sometime and do the show live from the property.
Come up, man. It's beautiful. You look up yokeoranch.com. Look it up.
I look forward to it. Thank
right.
you. Have a great day. There you go. Mendocino Grasslands on the show today. Can you tell cannabis is one of my favorite subjects? I mean, come on. It's the plant that's changing everything, putting everybody on the map. Thanks, guys. Thanks to Ian and Adam for coming on the show today. And tomorrow, I am going to be working. How about that? So I won't be on the show. Possibly be back on Friday. We'll see. I might want to take a early weekend. We'll see. We'll see what's going on. You know, with the Kurt Cobain thing on Monday, we came to talk to you about. That was amazing to just be able to talk about Kurt and the photographs and all the stuff we've taken over the years and the experiences we've had. You know, when I'm sure the things to talk about, there's always my photography career. So it's always good. And even with Clem yesterday, being able to talk to him and being in the room, we did touch yesterday on being in the room during the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction dinner. And if you want to watch a very uncomfortable induction, watch the Blondie induction. And when the guys are like, the old guys in the band are like, come on, Blondie, can't we come up there and play one song with you? And she's like, my band's up there now waiting for me. And I was just like, it was like ice cold, like the whole room quiet. Oh, anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to 420 Live. Peace, love, and happiness to everybody out there. Big hug. Thanks to all our friends of Mendocino Grasslands, all of our friends worldwide. We really appreciate it hearing from you. I heard from a lot of people yesterday after the Clem show. So people from Bolivia, people from England. I mean, everybody. Clem had a huge following. So thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We will see you back here possibly Friday, if not Monday, with our friend Greg Krasnowski, ChemDog. He started one of the most popular strains in the world. And Tuesday of next week, I have a good guest too. And it's, I got Tony, Russ, and Ray from Trey Band on the show. So it will be another Vermont show. We'll have a bunch of guys from Vermont on the show talking to us with our friend Marcus Rezak, because they all played on Marcus's new record, which is coming out now. He has a new video out. So we'll have Marcus and the guys on next Tuesday. And then we'll be going to Atlanta for the fight. So sporadic shows coming up, but tune in. I'll keep you posted. You guys know where I am. Have a great day, everybody. Signing off, Jeff